Cruising used to feel like freedom on the open sea. No rules, no rush, just endless food, drinks, and sunshine. But 2025 has changed all that. Behind the fun and buffet lines, cruise lines have been quietly rewriting the playbook. From the way you drink to what you can pack, the rulebook at sea has never been stricter. Some of these updates make sense, protecting the environment, improving safety, cutting waste, but others, they feel like someone took a vacation and turned it into a list of regulations. The truth is, the cruise industry is under pressure. Global laws, viral passenger videos, even insurance companies are forcing ships to tighten up. And if you don't know these new rules, your next cruise could start with a surprise you didn't plan for. So today, we're breaking down 19 new cruise rules you need to know before you sail in 2025. From bans nobody saw coming to policies that actually make your trip smoother. Let's dive in. Number 1. The bottled water ban. Remember when you could bring a case of bottled water on board and have it waiting in your cabin? Not anymore. Cruise lines have finally closed that loophole. No sealed cases, no exceptions. The official reason is environmental. Cutting single-use plastic waste. A single ship can burn through tens of thousands of plastic bottles per voyage. So now, refill stations and reusable bottles are the new norm. But there's a not-so-green side to this. Too many passengers were sneaking alcohol in disguised as water. Vodka, rum, even homemade cocktails in reused bottles. The crackdown isn't just about recycling, it's about control. You can still bring your own refillable bottle, and yes, the ship's water is safe. Some lines allow sealed cans of soda or juice, but the era of the bottled water delivery is officially over. It's a small change that says a lot about where cruising is headed. Less free-for-all, more follow the system. Number 2. Royal Caribbean's drink voucher rule. Royal Caribbean's loyal passengers used to brag about their diamond drink vouchers, 4 or 5 free drinks per day, a nice perk for loyalty. Until now, in 2025, bartenders are required to open every single drink before handing it to you. That means no more sealed bottles to stash for later and no more quiet stockpiling in your mini fridge. Why? Because people were gaming the system, saving up cans, sharing with friends, even handing off alcohol to underage cruisers. What started as a thank you perk became a loophole that the cruise line couldn't ignore. Now, if you order it, you drink it right there. The crew pops it open before it hits your hand. Loyal cruisers aren't happy, arguing, "If I earned the vouchers, shouldn't I use them how I want?" Royal's response is simple. The perk is for you, not your cabin neighbor. So if you were planning to stash a six-pack from your daily freebies, those days are gone. Number 3. The balcony smoking ban that never died. Balcony smoking is one of those cruise debates that never seems to go away, and for good reason. After a tragic 2006 fire on the Star, Princess traced back to a balcony cigarette, nearly every cruise line banned smoking in staterooms and balconies. But in 2025, enforcement just hit a new level. Ships are using surveillance, crew patrols, and even fine systems up to $500 for anyone caught lighting up. Some guests have been kicked off mid-voyage. It's not about punishing smokers, it's about safety. Balcony materials may look sleek, but many are still flammable. A single ember carried by the wind could spell disaster. Now, designated smoking zones are tucked into upper deck corners, heavily ventilated and fireproofed. It's not as private, but it's the only option left. So if you're tempted to sneak a smoke on your balcony, think again. The fine alone could buy you another cruise. Number 4. The banned items list that keeps growing. Think you know what not to pack? Think again. The list of banned items has grown longer than ever in 2025, and some of the additions are catching passengers off guard. First, Bluetooth speakers. Once harmless cabin companions, now banned in most public areas. Too many impromptu DJs blasting playlists on pool decks ruined it for everyone. Next, personal Wi-Fi routers and Starlink units. Passengers brought them aboard for better internet, not realizing they interfere with the ship's communication and navigation systems, a serious safety risk. And finally, multi-plug outlets. The debate used to be about surge protection. Now, Royal Caribbean and others have banned all of them. Only USB hubs are allowed. The reason? Too many look identical, and overloaded outlets cause overheating and electrical hazards at sea. So before you pack, double-check the updated banned list, because what was fine last year might get confiscated at the terminal this year. Number 5. Sniffer dogs at embarkation. If you're sailing from Miami, Galveston, or Port Canaveral this year, you might notice something new as you board. Sniffer dogs. And not behind the scenes like before, they're right there, walking beside passengers, checking bags in plain sight. It's a bold statement from cruise lines. They're taking no chances. Even though certain substances are legal in some U.S. states, cruise ships operate under federal law, and they visit countries where possession can land you in serious trouble. This visible crackdown isn't just about detection, it's about deterrence. Cruise lines want people to see the dogs, to feel that reminder before they even get their welcome drink. Anyone caught trying to sneak something on board can be denied boarding instantly or even escorted off at the next port. No refund, no discussion. It might feel intimidating, but it's not about fear. It's about protection. Thousands of people in close quarters means one bad decision can ruin a voyage for everyone. The dogs are there to make sure your trip starts and ends drama-free. Number 6. No homemade gifts for crew. Cruisers love giving back to the people who make their trips special, from stateroom attendants to bartenders who remember your name. But in 2025, one simple gesture is now off-limits. Homemade food, cookies, banana bread, candy bags from home, all banned. The reason? Health and liability. Several years ago, a few well-meaning passengers brought baked goods on board and offered them to crew. Some crew members got sick, and suddenly cruise lines were dealing with medical reports and tough questions about responsibility. Now, the rule is strict. No homemade food or drink can be given to crew, ever. Only factory-sealed, pre-packaged snacks like chips or candy bars are allowed. It's not about ungratefulness, it's about consistency. Crew members are trained to politely decline anything homemade to avoid risk or favoritism. If you want to say thanks, leave a note, a gift card, or a little extra in gratuity. Because even a kind gesture can backfire when it comes wrapped in Tupperware. Number 7. The honest pricing law. Finally, some good news. Not every new rule feels like a crackdown. Some actually protect passengers. Thanks to California's honest pricing law, cruise lines must now show the full fare up front, taxes, port fees, and all. This law technically only applies to California residents, but rather than run two systems, most major cruise lines rolled it out nationwide. That means no more $499 teaser fares that balloon to $780 at checkout. You still pay for drink packages, Wi-Fi, and tips, but at least the base fare is transparent now. And for travelers who like to plan every dollar, this change is huge. It's not glamorous, but it builds trust. And in an era where cruise lines are tightening every other rule, honesty in pricing is one shift everyone can toast to, even if your drink voucher has to be opened first. Number 8. Scooter size restrictions. This one's caused a lot of confusion and some frustration. Starting in 2025, Carnival rolled out a new mobility policy that affects anyone using a scooter. If your scooter doesn't fit through a standard 22-inch cabin doorway, you can't bring it on board unless you book an accessible cabin. And if you show up with one that's too big, Carnival reserves the right to deny boarding entirely. The reason's simple: safety. Narrow hallways, crowded decks, and tight elevators can turn oversized scooters into hazards during emergencies. To make things easier, Carnival now partners with Scootaround, a rental service that delivers approved scooters straight to your stateroom. Some see the rule as restrictive, others as necessary. But one thing's certain, it's forcing passengers to plan ahead. Measure twice, book once, and you won't face any surprises at the port. Number 9. The chair hog crackdown. If you've ever walked onto the pool deck and found every chair reserved with a towel and flip-flops, but no one actually sitting there, you already know the pain of the chair hog. In 2025, cruise lines are finally cracking down. Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and others now enforce a clear time limit. If a lounger sits empty for more than 30 to 40 minutes, crew members remove the items and free up the seat. The rule came after endless complaints from guests who couldn't find a spot, even though half the chairs were technically occupied. The new system is simple. Wire warning cards first, then towels and belongings go to the towel desk. It's not about punishing anyone, it's about fairness. When you've got thousands of passengers and limited deck space, you can't let a few early risers claim half the pool. Of course, not everyone's happy. Some longtime cruisers argue that a 30-minute cutoff feels too strict, but for everyone else, it's a breath of fresh sea air. Finally, the perfect pool chair might actually be waiting for you. Number 10. No drinks in pools. Cruise life and cocktails go hand in hand, until now. In 2025, several major lines banned drinks inside pools and hot tubs altogether, even those in plastic cups. The logic is simple but not glamorous. Hygiene. Every spilled drink messes with the pool's chemicals, and with thousands of people dipping in and out daily, maintenance was turning into a nightmare. And that's before you even consider the other mystery liquids passengers bring into the mix. By banning beverages in the water, cruise lines can keep the pools cleaner, the chlorine levels balanced, and guests safer. It might feel like a small loss. Sipping your drink in the hot tub was practically tradition. But after hearing how many times those pools had to be drained mid-cruise, you might not miss it as much as you think. The new rule? Enjoy your margarita by the pool, not in it. Number 11. The dining room limits. Here's the rule that's dividing cruise veterans the most. Limits in the main dining room. For decades, cruising meant one glorious promise: order as much as you want. But now, cruise lines are rethinking that model. Carnival has introduced a 2-entree limit in the dining room. Want a third? It's a $5 charge. Other lines like MSC have quietly followed, and some are even moving lobster night to specialty restaurants entirely. The reason, according to the lines, is food waste. Too many guests were ordering 3 or 4 entrees, taking a few bites, and leaving the rest. Multiply that by thousands of passengers every night, and the numbers became staggering. Not everyone's buying it. Many longtime cruisers feel like it's another example of cruise lines chipping away at tradition, turning what used to be abundance into economy. Still, if you order a dish and don't like it, you can swap it for another without charge. But the message is clear. Those all-you-can-eat days are gone. Number 12. The drink package dilemma. The drink package, one of the most popular cruise add-ons ever. Pay once, drink freely. Sounds simple, right? Not anymore. Starting in 2025, most cruise lines now require that every adult in a cabin buy the same drink package, even if only one person actually drinks. Why? Because too many passengers were sharing. One person would buy the package, grab drinks for their partner or friends, and cruise lines were losing thousands. Bartenders caught on, and the rules changed fast. Now, when one person in your cabin buys a package, the system automatically applies it to everyone over the drinking age. For couples where one person barely drinks, it's frustrating. Paying hundreds for unused cocktails feels unfair. But from the cruise line side, it's about consistency and preventing abuse. So before you add that unlimited deal to your booking, do the math. It might not be the steal it used to be, especially if half those piña coladas will sit untouched. Number 13. The teen curfew. Cruise ships might look like giant playgrounds, but in 2025, there's a new bedtime for younger travelers. Carnival and other major lines now enforce a 1 a.m. curfew for anyone under 18, unless they're with a parent or part of an official youth activity. This rule didn't come out of nowhere. Crew members were dealing with late-night chaos, unsupervised teens roaming decks, shouting in hallways, even pulling pranks that turned into real safety issues. Families complained, security got involved, and something had to change. The new curfew sets clear boundaries without killing the fun. Teen clubs can still stay open late, but everything is supervised and structured. Parents finally get some peace, and the rest of the ship can sleep without hallway marathons. Sure, some teens hate it, but for most passengers, it's a relief. The ship is supposed to feel like a resort, not a high school after dark. Number 14. The hand fan ban. It sounds almost ridiculous, but yes, hand fans are now banned at some onboard events. The policy started on Carnival after reports of injuries and chaos during packed nightclub shows. Guests brought oversized fans, the kind that snap open dramatically, and started waving them during performances. What seemed fun quickly became a hazard. In tight venues, those fans blocked views, smacked neighbors, and even caused small cuts and bruises. Some were made with sharp metal edges or materials that didn't meet fire standards. Now, large fans are prohibited in clubs, theaters, and lounges. You can still bring a small battery-powered fan for your cabin or deck, but the theatrical clack of giant fans has officially been silenced. It's one of those strange rules that makes sense only after you've seen it go wrong. And yes, it did. Number 15. The Cannabis Crackdown. Here's a rule that still confuses a lot of first-time cruisers. Even if it's legal where you live, cannabis is completely banned at sea. Cruise ships follow federal and international law, not state law. That means once you're on board, marijuana, CBD oils, and edibles are all treated as illegal substances. Even just for sleep isn't an excuse. Ports like Mexico, Jamaica, and the Bahamas have strict penalties, and cruise lines can't risk a passenger getting detained. Anyone caught faces removal from the ship, at their own expense, and possibly a permanent ban. Some travelers argue it's outdated, but cruise companies have zero wiggle room legally. Their message is simple. If it's not prescribed, sealed, and legal everywhere your ship docks, leave it at home. It might sound harsh, but this one rule has saved countless guests from vacations that ended in disaster or customs detention. Number 16. The 21-plus rule for solo cruisers. If you're under 21 and dreaming of your first solo cruise, you might need to hit pause. As of 2025, Carnival and Royal Caribbean now require passengers to be at least 21 years old to cruise alone on most North American itineraries. It used to be 18, but after a string of late-night incidents involving unsupervised young adults, alcohol, and poor decision-making, the age bar moved up. Now, anyone under 21 must travel with someone 21 or older listed in the same cabin. There are a few exceptions in Europe, but if you're departing from a U.S. port, the rule is non-negotiable. Cruise lines say it's about safety and liability, having a legal adult present in case of emergencies or misconduct. For parents, it's peace of mind. For 18 to 20-year-olds, it's a frustrating reminder that the ocean might not be as free as it looks. Still, most see it as a smart move, because on a ship carrying thousands, one bad decision can ripple fast. Number 17. The Health Declaration Form. If 2020 taught cruise lines anything, it's how fast illness can spread in tight spaces. That's why, by late 2025, many lines are introducing a new requirement, the pre-boarding health declaration. Before you even reach the terminal, you'll fill out an online form confirming you haven't had symptoms, recent exposure, or travel to high-risk areas. It's similar to uploading your passport or vaccination record, but this time it's about public health. Some luxury brands like Virgin Voyages and Explora Journeys are already testing it, asking guests to complete the form 24 to 48 hours before sailing. Others, like Norwegian, are building it directly into their digital check-in. The goal isn't to scare passengers, it's to catch problems early. If someone reports symptoms, medical teams can evaluate before boarding instead of quarantining mid-voyage. It's another layer of safety that feels intrusive to some but reassuring to most. After all, one honest form can stop a ship-wide outbreak before it starts. Number 18. The drone ban. Drones used to be the go-to gadget for influencers, sweeping ocean shots, cinematic sailaways, balcony selfies from above. But in 2025, cruise lines have grounded them completely. No drones allowed on board, period. The only exceptions are approved professionals working under contract with the cruise line. The reason is safety and privacy. A drone flying too close to the ship's radar or antennas can cause serious interference. And in crowded deck areas, they're literal flying hazards. Passengers complained about buzzing drones hovering over pools, while others worried about being filmed without consent. It became a security headache and a PR nightmare. Now, any drone found at embarkation gets confiscated and returned at the end of the voyage. The same goes for large professional camera rigs and tripods, only allowed in approved areas with permission. So if you want cinematic cruise footage, keep it. Old school, your phone, your GoPro, and a steady hand on deck. Number 19. The sustainability surcharge. Here's a new fee you might not notice until it shows up on your statement. The sustainability surcharge. It's small, usually $2 to $5 per passenger per voyage, but it's part of a much bigger shift. Cruise lines are under pressure to prove they're going green. The charge helps fund cleaner fuels, waste reduction systems, and ocean conservation programs. Some lines only apply it if you request single-use items like bottled water or plastic utensils. Others automatically include it as part of your fare. Either way, it's meant to nudge passengers toward reusable, eco-friendly habits. And surprisingly, surveys show most travelers don't mind. Many even say they'd pay more if it means the oceans they sail on stay cleaner. It's a small charge that carries a big message. The era of careless cruising is over. The future of sailing is sustainable, and everyone on board plays a part. So there you have it. 19 new cruise rules shaping 2025. Some protect the planet, some protect passengers, and some just protect the cruise line's bottom line. The truth is, the modern cruise ship isn't the lawless playground it once was. It's a floating city with its own code, designed to keep thousands of people safe, healthy, and hopefully happy. You might not love every change, the drink limits, the dining surcharges, the constant reminders of what you can't do. But these rules show how much cruising has evolved. It's cleaner, stricter, and smarter. And maybe in a world that's learned the hard way about safety and sustainability, that's not such a bad thing. Because when you think about it, the sea still offers something no rulebook can control. Freedom. The kind that comes when you're miles from shore, watching the sunset, realizing that despite all the changes, the magic of cruising is still right there. So, what do you think? Are cruise lines making the right moves or going too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this helped you prep for your next sailing, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive into life at sea. Until next time, smooth sailing and no surprises at embarkation.